Okay, welcome back. Now, let me first check what time it is. It is time to blow up some ships. Wonderful. Now, in the last video, I was playing around with the Tristan Navy a little bit, and the performance of the medium afterburner caught me off guard. So I initially had the plans to use that ship today, but I was late to the party as usual, and I decided to take something fast. Now, I'll be flying a bunch of ships today, Pacifier included, but I kind of want to fly frigates a lot more often, so I will probably refit the Pacifier, and I will get a I will get a third Astra for combat, for PvP, because I have two Astros, one for scanning, one for exploration, and I guess I need a third one for combat, for PvP. But the Pacifier is a ship that I also find very interesting. Unfortunately, it's not a drone boat, or thankfully it's not a drone boat. I know which one to pick, but this little thing can be quite fun. And my role as, I guess, a scan or tackle role in a fleet, I think will suit me just fine. But if I do take the Tristan Navy out, it will most likely be E-ward/DPS support, because the Tristan is definitely not going to be good for tackling. The Pacifier and the Astra can tackle and can scan, because again, they're one of the very few ships, very few frigates that can tackle immediately upon decloaking, and I think their role will suit me perfectly, because I mean, I fly covered tops ships, cloaky ships all the time, so you know, it's also funny because I really wanted to fly the Tristan, but I took a cloaky again. Me and cloaky ships are kind of something that just goes hand in hand, I guess, and I can't let them go. So I'll fly cloaky ships, I guess. Not because I can't fly anything else, but because I guess I just enjoy them a lot more. So yeah, but honestly, all the jokes aside, I'm really happy with how the new frigates perform, and I think down the road I will fly these ships a lot more often now. I will have to adapt the builds. I will have to definitely change the builds, that's for sure. Just some slight changes, nothing too drastic, but I'll definitely have to change the build on the Pacifier, especially. Flying this thing was a little bit let's say it was definitely adrenaline packed, because I don't have any stabs on this thing, and I was throwing it around like no big deal. So I need to change the build for sure if I want to use this thing a bit more comfortably, to put it more accurately. But honestly, it was really fun. Zero complaints for me. The fun factor on this thing was really high. Anyway, let's go and see what the first target for today will be. We have a new ship. Now, I think in one of the last larger updates, we have received some of the new trainer ships. I think the Gnosis trainer, I think the Sunenis trainer exists, and the Praxis trainer. Now, they're pretty much, I think, returnee ships for returning players. Honestly, I don't really know the details on that. How to get these things. All I know is that they're new quotation marks, because you also have the Praxis and stuff like that. But this is pretty much my first encounter with a Praxis training ship. I think in the future, I want to use that, because it's a bad omen in the game. I feel like soon, in the next couple updates, we might see more training ships introduced for alpha players, for new players, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting. Now, I'm trying to figure out. I'm basically waiting for the crew to be close by for me to tackle. I have a medium armor repair and a repair mode on this thing. This is the tanky build, and kind of a scan tackle tanky Pacifier. Now, the reason why I'm waiting patiently is because I want to make sure that I don't eat bombard. I want to make sure that if I tackle, that I have ships coming in that can quickly finish off the Praxis, because bombard and frigates And medium drones don't really go hand in hand. Even though I'm a tanky build, I'm still worried that Lombard can just shoot through the ship, even though it has like 88% resistance, so it's a fairly tanky little ship. But I decided to go in a 0 kilometer orbit with an afterburner. No stabs on this thing, by the way. It's built for tanking and for power grid, basically. They're all very cheap build as well. You would laugh if you saw the metal level of my modules. Now, this is where I thought that this Praxis could have potentially been a bait. And you know what, I said, okay, you know what, we will be here for a while anyway, so let's just go and do the smart thing. Let's focus on the drones while I keep the points, the scramblers on the Praxis. Good thing is I'm still able to speed tank at 0. This is why I like the 0 kilometer orbit with small ships. Small ship orbiting a big ship at 0 is something I personally enjoy a lot. But I am not taking too much damage, so this is where I realized, okay, I might not be in trouble. I'm still in shield, I'm an armor tank, so I'm fairly sure now I'm going to be able to tank just fine. But still, I will maintain the 0 kilometer orbit with the afterburner, and the repair mode is active. That needs to be active. Boosts the repair capability of this little ship a lot. And I think I'm able to recover like half armor every 2.5 seconds or something like that. So it is a fairly tanky little frigate, for a frigate, with armor repairs, of course. And I think I can get the armor repair up even more on this ship, because as I mentioned in the past, in the couple minutes ago, I don't have the optimal rigs for this thing. In any case, Praxis destroyed. Okay, not bad. Let's warp out. And also a good thing, I can cloak. Fire and 12. This is one of the more cheaper battleships, that's for sure. And this is what you can expect from a training Praxis battleship, I guess. Odd ship. I don't know why they picked up Praxis. Of all ships, they had to pick up Praxis, I guess. But that's one of the newer ships, and that's the kill value of the new ship. In any case, it was a good catch. That was a good catch. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Now we have something a little bit more serious. We have a Stabber sniper. Now,
warp drive active.
It's a cruiser. Definitely, the threat level is definitely higher with a cruiser. After all, cruisers can track frigates, and Stabber is one of the more faster frigates. That's a very weird frigate called a Stabber. I know. The Stabber is definitely one of the more nasty ships to handle with a frigate, and this one seems to have a nanocore. However, I think that the saving aspect is that it seems they are using painters, target painters, and maybe using something else. Now, I will approach. We are fourth. Now, the good thing about the Pacifier, unlike the Stratios, this little ship is actually speedy. It's not the fastest frigate, but you know, it's a frigate. You get some decent speed. So you can approach targets cloaked just fine. With the Stratios, this can take ages. With this little thing, it's actually not too bad. You can get a decent speed out of this frigate, and you can approach just fine. Now I have to be careful. This Stabber, at first I actually thought that they might have a micro warp drift, but then I remembered it's a Stabber. These things are fast. And I'm also on an afterburner, by the way. So. Afterburner frigate, afterburner cruiser, and the Stabber is still going to be very quick. The idea here is to get close, and hopefully, now at the time when I record this, I thought that they might have a micro warp drive. Now I know that they don't have a micro warp drive, so at the time I wanted to approach closely, scramble them, and to slow them down. That's my idea. later, very quickly, I actually found out, oh, that's not gonna work. Because afterburner is not affected by scramblers, but I initially thought, because of the speed, I thought that they might have a micro overdrive, but I was wrong, as I found out fairly quickly. So, I am approaching. We are risking a little bit because even though it's just a stabber sniper, they have medium-sized weapons that are more than able to hit a frigate. So it was a little risky, but you know, in two of us versus one stabber, what can possibly go wrong, right?
Attack.
In any case, the stabber didn't lock me on, although the entirety of the storyline mission ships definitely did lock me on. As usual, they love to make me the primary target. Lovely, isn't it? I have scrambled the stabber, but the stabber is not slowing down. Now, I'm just a little bit faster from the stabber. And the difference in the speed is so small. It's scary, but it is what it is. I'm attempting to orbit at 0. They have a artillery build, long range build. So if they start to lock me on, I can just start to move around, and I should be safe because unless I get totally slowed down, I should be able to speed tank artillery cannons at this distance, even if they are medium sized. If they have been auto cannons, I would probably think twice about getting close, but against artillery, yeah, you definitely should get close. And the stabber has been destroyed. Not bad at all. I would say that's a good catch. And, well, not bad loot. Now let me... no storage. Lovely. That's also one of the problems with this ship. Cargo space is quite limited on the Pacifier. Even though you get some exploration stats on this thing, the cargo capacity isn't really the best. And the funny thing is, you get a better scanner on this thing than the Astra, yet you have a smaller cargo capacity. 707 million ISK. That's a classic long-range kite stabber. Not bad. Good catch, actually. I like the kite idea that they had for a storyline. This is pretty much what I would actually say it's a smart thing to do, because at long distance you can snipe, and if someone pops in, you just warp out. I don't know why they didn't warp out. That was the only mistake that they've done. In any case, let's go to the next target. We have a Rattlesnake, and I am in the gold space potato Domi Navy. A ship that is just nasty in any definition of nastiness because of bombard, and even if you don't have a fancy nanocore, you will get DPS of ships that do have a fancy nanocore with this thing. That's just how wicked, that's just how funny the Domi Navy is, especially once it got the siege mode. That siege mode is definitely disgusting on this ship, I have to admit. 50% extra damage, plus bombard, plus bonuses, yikes. Oh, there is the Rattlesnake, and they are losing shield very quickly. Well, they will be losing the ship very quickly after that. Yeah, just no comment. There goes the Rattlesnake. That was a 51,000 hit. Alpha. And it didn't even... Not all drones didn't even hit it at once. So... yeah. I really don't like how funny Bombard is. When I say funny, broken. I got some decent loot. Oh, I got a cargo scanner. Alright, that's a good loot job there. Lovely. I wasn't joking when I said we'll blow up some ships today. And let's warp out. Do I enjoy flying this thing? Yeah.
Warp drive
Do I like
active.
to roam with it? Nope. Because I don't like to roam with battleships. Maybe if it's a Black Ops, I would. But a class battleship, no. Way too slow for my taste. I'd rather be in a frigate or a cruiser. Those are more enjoyable. Anyway, let's take a look at what we caught. 6.60. That's a number of the beast right there. 6.66 billion isk. Triple. Wait a second. What? Triple repair. Triple. What kind of build is that? Well, that's not gonna work, obviously.
Warp drive active.
And I make a warp drive as well. You know, every time I said, and I said this 7,000 videos, and I keep saying it every time, you know, I thought I've seen it all, you know, and then I see something that I've never seen. The game just loves to show me stuff that I've, you know, when I thought I seen all, the game just slaps me and says, you didn't see everything.
Docking request
And
accepted.
I've never seen a triple booster build Rattlesnake with 3 batteries. That's a first. That's a first for me. In any case, that's a solid catch and solid loot drop, I would say. That's a good catch, honestly. Very good catch. And the fact that they just like popped, you know, that's the magic of Bombard. That's the magic of the Bombard tag the game planned. Oh well, that's a good catch. Let's go to the next one. And what do we have here? Oh, I know. We have a. I think we have a Cinnabon.
Warp drive active.
I think if my memory is certain, well, I think we have a Cinnabon on a planet. Okay, now I'm flying the Stratios. This is on a roam. We were roaming around a little bit. And I leveled up the Pacifier into a Strat. Actually, no, that's not accurate. If you level up the Pacifier, you get an Enforcer. Yeah, this is the Stratios. Yeah, sister fifth ship. Okay, there is the Cinnabon. Let's approach. Launching drones. Bombard loaded. Actually, you know, if I fly the Stratios solo, I have a bunch of different fits for it. If I fly in a fleet like now, I think I need to change the build to be more useful, because I mean I can be useful, I can tackle, I guess. Can work as a tackle fit and a scanning ship, but if I plan to use this DPS or support DPS, I might just slap some E-War on this ship and kite with the Stratios. That also works in a fleet. 2.1 billion isk extender build. Oh, that's not bad. It's actually decent. I like that Cinnabon build. I do miss my Cinnabon. I've been flying the Celos ever since the Celos got released. I've been flying that thing. I do miss my Cinnabon. I love that ship. I really do love the Cinnabon. It's such a good ship. I might fly it again. We will see. In any case, let's go to the next target, and we have something that I would say is a little bit on the rare side of things. I think we have a Tornado 3. Now, the 3-class battlecruiser, or the third variant of battlecruisers, usually is extremely rare. You don't see those things fly that often. So I immediately knew that I had
Warp
to
drive
catch that ship. I took the Stratios. We will see what will happen. I'm going in. So, and the reason why they're not that popular is probably because the second version of the ship, the let's call them Type 2 battlecruiser, they are generally speaking cheaper while offering a very similar performance to the variant 3. But you do get the variant 3 battlecruisers occasionally. They are there. You just need to be a bit lucky to find them, and this is one such lucky occasion where I stumble upon one, or should I say they stumble upon me. So let me find a good warp in. And the beautiful thing about the Stratios, as with any cloaky ship, you can cloak, you can take your time. If you, of course, if you are not late to the party, you can take your time
Warp drive active.
and find the perfect warp in, find the closest warp in, and from there on you can plan your course of action, whether you want to engage directly or you want to tackle. That depends on the situation that you're in. In my case, this is a very tricky position that I'm trying
Warp
to
drive
get
active.
to. Basically, I'm trying to figure out, okay, that's not going to work from that's not going to work from point A, that's not going to work from point B, I need point C, or maybe I will need point D, and so on. This is a thing that you will have to practice, because you will have moments where
Warp
you will
drive
have moments
active.
where you will have to spend maybe a couple minutes to actually find a good warp in, and sometimes maybe even wait for the target to actually fly in a certain path. In this case, this actually worked really well for me here. It just so happened that I think I knew an anomaly popped, and they were just flying in that direction. I got the close warp in that I wished for, and now we can slowly get slowly we can get close to the typhoon. To typhoon. Did they call this typhoon all the? Oh my god! If I did that, my apologies. Tornado 3, not typhoon 3. Tornadoes. Yeah, it happens. It's late. I'm recording this very late. I'm sleepy. That is. I mean, okay, taking some hits, taking damage. I got scrabbled. That's fine. Well, I didn't anticipate this ship to last as long as it did, but I forget that the variant 3 battlecruiser is a little bit more tanky than the variant 2. But no, that was a good catch. A rare ship got caught, so I'm obviously not going to complain. Let's warp out and let's see what.
Warp drive active.
Let's see what we got. I also need to refuel this thing. I am definitely always running low of fuel on my ships, which is annoying. 1.69 billion. Well, not bad. Very nice, actually. That's a good catch. No, I'm not gonna complain. That's still a very good catch. A rare ship. A rare ship to catch is always nice. Alrighty then. We have a mermaid on command. A battlecruiser. Now, mermaids can be scary. They're like the Prophecy. They have some pretty scary drone DPS. And speaking of the Prophecy, that's exactly what I'm flying right now. A Prophecy to command. I will have to
Warp drive
get
active.
some more drones for this thing, because currently my Prophecy and Stratios are fighting over the offense drones. So I definitely need to get more drones for this thing. Has some disgusting DPS as well. And when it comes to battlecruisers, again, I have drones as my primary battlecruisers. That's my primary weapon type on a battlecruiser. Primarily because, again, the bombard implant is just pretty nasty to have, and I just enjoy flying. Now the Prophecy is. I always knew that this thing can be fun. It took me. I actually forgot when I got this ship. I love this ship, by the way. There's a reason why I got a Illusionary Ghost nanocore for the Prophecy, because I really enjoy it, and I do love this thing. So Currently we are waiting for the right moment to warp in. My friend will do the fleet warp. For now we're just chilling, we're just waiting for the right moment to strike. Waiting for the Myrmidon to fly towards our desired
drive
location.
active.
And it seems that we are going, so that means the Myrmidon is definitely in the desired location, in the desired warping position. Drone orbit at 4 kilometers. I forgot to change my build for scramblers. I have 3 points in the scrambler. That's fine. It should work. My friend will have a lot of points, so this should work just fine. And drones are out. We are opening fire and boom. Myrmidon destroyed. That's a good catch. Okay, that's a good catch. Let's see the
We're
2.7. Why is this Myrmidon so... Oh, wait a second. Well, that's a good catch actually. That's a very good catch. Did I see some rare weapons? I think I did. I think I have seen some faction missile launchers on
Warp
the...
drive active.
Let's take a closer look, I guess. Oh, well, that's a very juicy Myrmidon. Oh, that's a good one. Integrated, okay. Integrated and 3 out of 4 offense drones dropped. That's beautiful. And besides that, we also got some other interesting loot. Perfect. That's what I call a good
Warp
catch.
drive active.
Let's go back to the station. This is actually a thing that I would consider very risky, even now, to just dock with timer, because you never know when the game can glitch out. But I trust that it's not going to happen. I've
Docking
been
request
docking with
accepted.
timer for quite a while now, so I got used to it. It was very stressful first couple of times when I docked with timer, but now is, yeah, I got used to it, so it's not a big deal. Okay, that was a juicy Myrmidon command, that's for sure. Let's go to the... I think it's time to go to the next target. Depending on when I ended the recording here, I don't know what I'm doing here. Well, okay. Still waiting for me to go to the, there we go. Okay, took a while. My apologies for that. Anyway, let's go and wait a second. It's the Myrmidon again. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Fingers crossed that the loot drop will be the same. Fingers crossed. This time we will be performing a fleet warp. I will be... Actually, wait a second. Never mind. I thought I would be doing the fleet warp. Turns out we're just waiting for the X command and then we will manually warp us in. Okay, all good. All good. A little bit... I was a little bit confused there for a second. Not a big deal.
Warp drive active.
Come on, space potato. There it is. The Domi Navy. Now why am I flying a Domi Navy against a Myrmidon? Well, in case it's a bait. If it's a bait, they will have to chew on 100,000 DPS. Okay, let's lock on 125 kilometers. I'm actually quite far away. This is going to be interesting. And opening fire, focusing fire. Well, boom. There goes the Myrmidon. That's a good catch. Let's warp off. Have to be careful with the siege mode, because obviously you are unable to warp once siege is up, and
Warp
it takes
drive
the
active.
cycle to finish, and then you can and then you're free to warp basically. Which is fine. There has to be some form of penalty when you use these special modules and modes. I remember the time when you were able to warp in siege modes, basically insta warp 1 meter per second. It was pretty funny back in the day with strikers. Let's take a look at what we caught here. Let's say Murbiron, this time a little bit more expensive, 3 billion is this time. Well, okay. Interesting loot drop. Not as good as the last loot drop, but you know, I'm not going to complain. A very good catch. That's a very expensive Murbiron to command, that's for sure. Okay, let's go to the next. Let's go to the next target. Let's see what we have. Am I about to take a Thrasher? I think I am. Oh no. Or am I going to be taking something else? Yeah, I think it's low tier time. What am I even looking at here? Yeah, why am I having issues finding the ship? There it is, okay. Yeah, it is time to blow up a low tier ship. Lovely. You know, it's funny. I remember one of the older videos they made.
Undocking.
It was like 56 minutes long, you know. You had a 38 billion ship, and then right after there was a Ibis that we blew up. And I put that in, and that was, well, it wasn't. It was a Rifter. Not my apologies. It was a Rifter. It was a Rifter. Why am I laughing?
Warp
Because you know,
drive
in these videos, you will find a big ship, a big big blown up ship, and you'll find a small blown up ship. Over here, for me, you know, a ship is a ship. You know, explosions are all pretty to look at. So ship explosions are all pretty to look at. So I just blow up everything that flies nowadays. Doesn't matter if you're low tier ship or high tier ship. I don't care. I'll eat in any case. Oh, this is a cormorant. Okay. Well, was a cormorant. Now it's no longer a cormorant. Now it's a pod. And let's just loot the wreck. No, why am I looting the wreck? Well, I like to collect materials because at one point they will be useful. Especially when I have to reprocess stuff, you know, and you just keep collecting one after the other, and you know, days like that pass, months pass, it piles up, and then you have a lot of materials to work with. Basically, what I managed to accomplish with basically collecting wrecks over time. No, I used to collect wrecks to keep them as trophies, but I decided, you know what, let's just process that because I need the materials. And that's what I had the tens of thousands of wrecks basically in all of my stations. In some of my stations I had that many wrecks. It was pretty funny to look at, but I think I have reprocessed all of that. I turned the wrecks into materials that I used to build stuff.
Docking request accepted.
That was pretty funny. Okay, well, that's a pretty odd encounter. Next, we have a Mother. Now, you might be wondering, okay, what is my favorite ship? Well, actually, no, that's the wrong question. What is the most enjoyable ship that I use? It's definitely the Mother. I mean, cheap, reliable, anyone can fly it. I mean, there is nothing more that you can ask for, and a Mother versus a Caracal, a Mother versus a Stabber is a lot more entertaining, a lot more fun than a Domi Navy versus a Rattlesnake. Longer battles are a lot more fun, and the Mother brings those battles and encounters quite often. So I fly it, as simple as that. And next we have, is that another Mother? No, it's not, it's a Vigilant. Alright, a Serpentis boat. Well, I haven't seen a Vigilant in a very long time. I don't know why, but I haven't seen that thing in a very long time. And the Vigilant has been destroyed. Nice. Okay. Let's take a look at the value. 1.2 billion. Not bad. Let's say I think a kite PvE build with, I think, was that inertia? Never mind. Anyway, would look like a kite long range PvP build. And was a good catch. Oh, whoops. Okay, next we have another Mauler. All right. Well, let's blow up the next Mauler, I guess. First hit, and it completely removed everything from the ship. It kind of pains me to you know, blow up a Mauler, but you know, 170 million. Well, scramblers and webs. Alright, that's interesting. Similarly fitted to what I have on my Mauler, although I have a large armor repairer, or I need to test out the large armor repairer on that thing. Might be good, but I kind of prefer the dual medium armor repairers because of capacitor. Let's go to the next encounter. We have a stabber. Now this stabber was, I think, creeping around in the middle of nowhere, which is funny. I know that if you find a ship in the middle of nowhere, basically, someone will say that's a bot, right? I don't think that this ship that I will encounter today is a bot. Personally, I don't really know what happened. But I know from my experience that in high sec, at least, if you find a ship in the middle of nowhere, it could be a bot. Do you remember when we used to have the Raven bots doing low sec missions, high sec missions and stuff like that? Do you remember that? That was actually a very odd time to play the game. I haven't seen a Raven bot in a very long time. To be honest, I haven't seen a bot in low sec in quite a while. In high sec I do see them in some certain systems, but in low sec I rarely do nowadays. But in any case, I don't really know what happened to the stabber. Why was the stabber just sitting there in the middle of nowhere? In any case, I'll just go and eat. I took the RB with the tracking disruptors because that's the right thing to do when engaging a Mimata ship. And there is the stabber. Let's orbit 20. I actually warped quite close. Well, okay, that's not a bait. I honestly have no idea what happened here. But obviously I am not going to complain, and actually I know what happened. They logged out in space because you can still see the ship even though it's destroyed. So that's what happened. They logged out in space. Okay, that makes sense. Well, don't log out in space. That's a bad idea. And I think they did log out in space with the yellow timer, so the ship did not disappear. So that is explaining on what happened. And well, with that being said, that would be it for this video. It was a longer one than usual, but you know, I think
warp drive active.
I think it was pretty fun. Some decent ships today, that's for sure. And I am definitely looking forward for more action. And well, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that, please stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.
Docking request accepted.